haven't seen the Deadpool movies?
So we're here in Vegas, man. So I've been here, what, 3 days, something like that, and it always amazes me how much a change of environment, not only physical, but social, and of course because we're so social, we're hardwired, right, to absorb each other and to even modify each other. So like when you hear about, well, you have to keep good company. Well, yeah, that sounds like a good thing, but why do you need to keep good company? And it is literally because we modify each other's behavior. Like literally, it's not casually, not because of some magic. Like just think about this: when somebody's talking to you, they might have some good eye contact, some good things like body language, and you can kind of feel that they're kind of in it. And then maybe you change the subject. Maybe you start talking about something else, and their body language changes. Their reaction to you changes. Maybe they start looking away, and so they're literally modifying you and saying to you, really subconsciously, they're saying to you, "Hey, do this. Talk about these things, but don't talk about these other things." Right? Now multiply those interactions by the 1,001 looks, the 1,001. Gestures that are happening every minute, every hour of every day with the people that you hang out, and you have your personality being shaped by others, and of course you also shaping others' personality. So that's one of the main reasons why keeping good company, having good friends, having people that you can really model after and that can model after you. And that's tricky, right? Because here's the problem. The problem is that the people that you want to hang out with to be better usually don't want to hang out with you. Why? Because, well, they're not going to get better. You're going to get better, but they're not. So like if you look at a group of people, you always want to, if you're trying to lose weight, you always want to be the fattest guy or really the skinniest guy in all the group will have a different effect than the fattest guy, right? If you're the fattest guy in your group, right, that gets you going. You're like, crap, what the heck is going on, right? If you're the only guy in the group that doesn't read, doesn't do anything, you start to think, okay, like, yeah, I need to get off my butt. But here's what people really do. What people really do is they hang out with a bunch of slobs that makes them feel like, man, I got this down. Like look how smart I am, and look. If you hang out with a chronic alcoholic, you think, well, my drinking every day is not a problem. Well, of course, if you gauge it against his binge drinking, then of course you probably look like a freaking hero, but you're not. So you want to try to push that envelope, but how can you push it if the people that you need to hang out with, they're kind of looking at you going, well, you're not going to improve me, you're not going to make me better. So good company is such a crucial thing. And this trip and other trips, I get to hang out with some people that I could feel it in my bones. Something is changing, something gets modified, something. And you can go back to your routine, and then it all goes back to the way it was before, and then nothing happens. Just like you can go on a diet and maybe lose a little weight, and then go back to eating and doing what you're doing, and nothing changes. So, but what you want to do is to push that envelope out and to get with the people that are going to be beneficial for you, even if that hurts, especially if it hurts. Because if it hurts, then something is going on. If something is changing, something, just like exercise. You feel that effort, you feel that strain, and the muscles, something is happening, something chemical is happening, something cellular is happening, something at a physical level is taking place. And if it's repeated over time, it'll have an effect. It'll have a massive effect if it compounds, right? So, good company is what I experienced over the last few days. We had some investors and other people that wanted to see a deal taking place, and then I got a chance to hang out with other people that I hadn't seen in a while, and it always amazes me of how much that changes you, and I can already feel it, and it'll take place probably today, the rest of today, and tomorrow when I get back home, and then I could be a different person. So think about this. If you were to change your environment, let's say 5% of the time, with people completely different, what would that do if it happened every day? If it happened every week, or at least every month? What would that compounding create in your life? Maybe you could be a completely different person in 6 months. I have a good friend. She was a good friend, and really, and I recently told her, I said, I am not interested at all in your friendship. And I know that was hard for her to hear. And she went through some really dark stuff, but she made some bad decisions, and I respect that. Everybody makes decisions, right? But my thinking behind that was, this is the best thing that I can give her, so that maybe she will make a better decision at some point. A good thing that I can give her is not my pity, not my and certainly not my time, because she's not going to appreciate it, and she's going to affect me, because again, I'm always trying to make progress, and why would I want to hang out with somebody that's going to drag me down a little bit? Because that's what happens, right? So if you're going up a mountain with somebody and you have to carry them, well, you're going to get more tired, but you still have to get up, and then maybe you want them to carry you too. Well, maybe, but that's not the way it happens. The way it happens is you either, because going down is a lot easier than going up, and everybody knows this. All you need to do to go down the mountain is just not move and roll around, and then there you go. You're gonna end up at the bottom of the pit, right? That's easy. So it takes, what does it take to? So like when people say, well, why did he fail? I think that's the wrong question, right? Failure is easy to explain. Anybody can explain failure. Promiscuity is easy to explain. Treason is easy to explain. War is easy to explain. You know what's hard to explain? Success. You know what needs a reason? What needs a reason is fidelity, loyalty. What needs a reason is breakthrough. We have to explain that. How do you explain that? When people say, well, why do people do drugs? That's the wrong question. The question is, why don't they do drugs all the time? Right? That's the question. So think about, what are the people in your life, and this is hard for some people more than for others, but I think it's hard in general, that you literally have to cut off from your life, right? And that's the decision that I made, and I have to be honest. I'm not a martyr, and this was not like super hard for me. It was a little hard, but really it was somewhat temperamentally easy for me to say, look, you know what? You are not beneficial to my life, and I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna not hang out with you. But of course, then the problem is that a lot of people then they shut up themselves off from other people, and then they have a vacuum with nothing, and then that's really bad. No, you don't want to do that, right? It's like, it's like saying, okay, somebody wants to stop drinking, and they say, okay, I'm not gonna drink, so I'm gonna stay at home, do nothing. That's not gonna work, right? Like, that might work one day, and you might chain yourself to the bed, but eventually you're gonna explode and go out. You can't be a tyrant to yourself, right? Because then you rebel. That's what happens. A slave eventually rebels. So you gotta treat it good. You gotta be like, don't think you're too smart. Don't think you're too brave. Think, okay, what is one small step towards a better company that I can take, right? So, and there were some people that I met here, and my advice was, how can you meet that one person that could be just a little better for you? But you need to meet them at the level that you're going to give to them, because if not, they're gonna feel how you're kind of pulling yours, because they're kind of helping you. So you gotta give them something too. You gotta level out that cost versus benefit ratio. And it sounds terrible to describe it like this. And if you ask people, they will deny it. But this is actually what is happening. What is happening is people thinking, okay, I'm gonna hang out with him or her, but what are they gonna do for me? Because that's the way it is. and it's not in a bad way, because I mean, if you think about it, it's like if you guys have read the book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, it's like the emotional bank account, right? You keep withdrawing, eventually it goes on the red. You know, there's no more. I mean, how much money you want? There's no more here. So you got to make those deposits for people, and then especially people who are higher up. And when I mean higher up, I don't mean like they're better. They're not. They're just at a different place. So think about it. For example, one of the things that I want to improve is I want to improve in my physique, right? So I'm looking for a trainer, a personal trainer that can really help me take to the next level. And I'm pretty healthy. I eat, generally healthy. I don't drink excessively. I don't smoke. I work out 2 or 3 times a week. I play sports. But I want that next level. So I need someone that is in a higher level, right? It doesn't mean they're better. They're at a higher level. So my thing is like, how can I do that? In a trainer situation, you pay them, right? That's what you do. You pay somebody to train you. But what about a social situation? Does that mean you have to put up with the same old friends, or with the terrible friends that you always just happen to have, or with whoever just happens to be there? Well, this is the only girl I could find, and that's why I married her, and when you put it that way, that's not the best way to put it. You just know it. But many people don't put it that way, but that's what happened. You literally just found somebody, and then you thought, well, this is the guy, or this is the girl, or these are my friends, or that's it. Or even worse, when it's your family. And if you know anything about my background and my story, I didn't have a chance to choose a lot of the things that happened in my family. But even then, you have to find the courage to say, to limit that contact, or to not have it altogether. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person that takes responsibility for who you are, because if you can't improve, if you can't be better, then how are you going to help anybody else? So don't assume that because you're with these people, or with these friends, or with this girlfriend, or with this boyfriend, you're doing it because you want to sacrifice, because you're trying to help them. Don't assume that. More than likely, you are there because it's easier, because maybe you can control them, because maybe you can all gather together in a room and not call each other on the fact that no one's doing anything that they should be doing. And we're just going to distract ourselves with alcohol and drugs, which, like I said, I don't have a problem with. Anybody wants to have fun, that's great. Having fun is good. But one thing is having fun, and another thing is to keep ourselves in a state of lower consciousness, so we don't have to do the things that we need to know, that we know that we need to do. And it's crazy, because people say, well, how do I know that I need to do this, or that I need to do that? Well, you don't. But you know what you do know sometimes? You know what you're not supposed to do. And it's a really weird thing that can happen, that you can think something, you can say something, and you hear a voice in your head that says, wait, that's wrong. What did you do that for? Why did you say that? Look, you need to be doing this. It's crazy. We hear that. We all experience that. And so, yeah, maybe you don't know what you need to be doing, but many times you know what you should not be doing. So maybe you can start there. What is the opposite of what I shouldn't be doing? What is the opposite of what I shouldn't be saying? And so I think that if you, and again, this is the secret, right? The secret is, okay, tomorrow I'm going to change everything and do everything, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to change all my friends, and I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit drinking. That's never going to change. That's never going to happen, right? That's not the secret. The secret is just to do, okay, what is the one thing that I could do right now that would make, for example, this room better? That would make my next hour a little better, right? So one thing that sometimes happens to me, and sometimes it just kills me, I go to a restaurant or something, and I think about leaving a tip, right? Because you think about, okay, what tip am I going to give? And so here's one little shortcut that I usually do. I usually think of a number, and so I think, okay, what would that be? Okay, yeah, I think that would be good. And they did a good job, whatever. But sometimes, every once in a while, I think of 2 numbers, right? I think one, and I go, well, maybe that's too much. Maybe I should leave a little less. You know what I do? I always leave the higher amount. Always. Just stretch it out a little bit. Just go with the higher path a little bit. Just think that, what is $1 more What is $2 more? What is $10 more of a tip? That's nothing. But how does that change you in a tiny microscopic way? And when you start adding those little chains up, and and I hang out, and this weekend I got the chance to hang out with some people who are doing pretty well financially, and I could see their habits in tipping. I could see their habits in that kind of and you. It's crazy because it's almost like your bones. And I talked about this in my video before, my previous video, related to something else, but it's the same thing. Your bones break, right? Osteoblast. Your bones are breaking because of maybe exercise in tiny little ways, and because they do that, they grow stronger. It is when you stay in bed and don't do anything that you atrophy, and then your bones, when you go out, then you have this big old fracture. So, good company. Seek it out. Just one tiny little change. Tiny little changes repeated over time. You could have a whole completely different life in 6 months, in a year. See you guys.